already live. So hi Rose, hi Dolly, hi Hala. So now we're going to discuss, or we're going. The webinar is all about Pinnacle Series. What is Pinnacle Series, and the partnership between Accienta and Eagle Point. So I'll hand it over to the host for today, which is Hala. Hala, you can go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. We're excited to share a new chapter in our mission to enable digital transformation across the GCC region. So let me begin by introducing myself and giving you some insight into my role in this collaboration. I am Hala Adwan, a BIM architect and an Autodesk cloud specialist, and I'm excited to guide you through today's session. So at Accienta, I work closely with the AEC teams across the GCC to help them transition from the traditional workflows into smarter cloud-powered environments. And with a strong background in both architecture and digital transformation, my focus is on enabling teams to work more efficiently and truly get the most out of their technology investments. And actually, today's session is all about that. It's about unlocking that potential and showing you how our partnership with Eagle Point Software is a key step in doing just that. So before we dive into Eagle Point Software and what it offers, let us first just share a bit about who we are at Accienta and why this partnership matters to our clients. So at Accienta, we are the GCC's strategic partner in digital enablement. And in simple terms, we help architecture, engineering, and construction professionals unlock the full potential of their technology investments, basically by streamlining workflows, enhancing skills, and definitely driving real project impacts. So our strength lies in our deep regional expertise and bilingual execution and definitely hands-on approach to digital transformation. And our goal is pretty simple. We want to make sure your teams aren't just using tools, but they're actually leveraging them to their full potential. So at Accienta, we focus on driving meaningful digital transformation, which actually supports the teams on the ground. And that's really what it comes down to. So in the next slide, it will give you just a quick overview of how we collaborate with the right platforms to build this seamless integrated solutions. So we're not just selling software or, for example, LMS tools, and we're definitely not just resellers. What we are is we're doing or creating real value through strategic partnerships and enablement. These partnerships and enablements are actually built around each client's reality. So at top, we have our partnership with Autodesk. As a gold partner, we help organizations leverage Autodesk's advanced tools to take their projects to the next level. Then there's our integration with Smartsheet. We combine Accienta's expertise with Smartsheet's flexibility to energize team work or in a live dynamic environment. And it's especially useful when you need transparency, real-time updates, and definitely better collaboration. And of course, transformation isn't just about tools, as we already mentioned. It's also about strategy and process. And that's where our professional services come in. So basically, we help organizations streamline change using the data-driven process management. It's about like making transformation not just possible, but rather sustainable. And we also support Brand Folder by Smartsheet, which brings the marketing and the branding side into picture. So basically, it helps teams just keep their brand assets aligned and impactful across all the platforms, which is essential for today's fast-paced digital environment. And finally, we work closely with Eagle Point Software, a key enabler in training and knowledge sharing to ensure adoption is smooth and teams are truly empowered. With that context in mind, let's walk through the flow of today's session. So here's just a brief overview of today's agenda. We'll begin with the introduction to Eagle Point Software, followed by an overview of the strategic value behind the Pinnacle Series platform. Next, you'll see a live demonstration of the Pinnacle Series in action, followed by a look at how we ensure successful implementation and ongoing value through dedicated customer success. We'll also take a moment to hear from you in a poll, walk through flexible subscription options, and spotlight how this solution is being tailored specifically for the needs of the GCC-based firms. We'll wrap up with a Q&A and share how you can take the next steps towards smarter, more scalable digital transformation. With the agenda in place, let's now turn to the team at Eagle Point Software, our partner behind the powerful Pinnacle Series platform, and actually leader in helping AEC firms boost the learning efficiency and digital adoption. So I'm pleased to introduce two key voices joining us from Eagle Point Software. Let me start by introducing Rose Otto, Senior Partner Manager at Eagle Point. Rose is a bilingual leader with deep experience in building and expanding global partnerships within the AAC tech space, definitely. And she is known for her collaborative leadership style and her ability to drive innovative technology across the industry. Joining her is Dolly Burke, Customer Success Manager at Eagle Point. Dolly specializes in aligning e-learning solutions with real-world business needs. So basically, she works closely with clients to ensure they receive maximum value from the platform through customized onboarding, adoption strategies, and long-term support. With that, I'll hand it over to Rose and Dolly, who will take you through the next part of today's session.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Hala and Isabel. And thank you for the opportunity to present to this audience today. We're really excited about this partnership as well. And we're excited to tell you more about what we have to offer. So to give you a little bit of background on Eagle Point Software as a company, it goes back all the way to 1983 when we started as a company developing software for users in the Autodesk space, and specifically architecture, engineering, and construction, now also manufacturing. And still to this day, we are a company of architects and engineers, construction managers that work on building the solution or making it better every day with new features and things like AI. And then we have a lot of people creating content and making sure it's up to date as well. We have a lot of strategic partners in this industry that we work really closely with, like Accienta, and we have over 800,000 users globally. Because of our close partnership with Autodesk and being part of the Autodesk Developer Network, we get early access to new releases so that when things like Revit 2026 comes out, we can make sure to support our users in that new version as quickly as possible. Let's talk about our Solution Pinnacle series today. It was created all the way back in 2006, and a lot has changed since then, obviously. But a couple of quick things just about the solution. If you want to go to the next slide, Dolly. It is a browser-based solution. It is all based on what and how you're currently using the design technology software. So the people that are creating this content don't just know the project well, they know how you're using it too. So this platform is available 24/7 when your teams actually need it, even after hours. And then it has a lot of resources at your fingertips to reduce errors, increase productivity, and make sure that you can create or finish your project on time and under budget. So I will turn it over to the real experts on Pinnacle Series. That's my colleague, Dolly Burke. She'll tell you more about the true challenges that we kept in mind when creating this solution. And then we'll show you how those get solved in the platform. Take it away,
Awesome.
Dolly.
Thank you so much, Rose. So before I jump into the presentation, like Rose said, I just want to give you an understanding of why we really created the Pinnacle series all those years ago. And it was really to help with these three common challenges that we were seeing many organizations face. Just going to explain these challenges so then we can understand how Pinnacle series can help. And like I said, we'll jump into that demonstration. So the first challenge is this concept of continuous learning, which it covers a few different challenge areas. You need to be able to provide training for your users who are going through onboarding to bring them up to speed quickly. Or maybe you want to provide training as an opportunity for existing users who want to learn a new skill, maybe learn a new technology, really take advantage of the upskilling opportunities. Well, Pinnacle Series comes loaded with training courses for a variety of technologies. The platform provides on-demand training for users when they need it, but also when they have the time to work on it. The next challenge or principle is known as knowledge capturing and sharing. So Pinnacle Series really starts with the e-learning material, but also becomes the central location for you to share all of your tips and tricks, lessons learned, processes, best practices. With your Pinnacle Series subscription, you actually have unlimited cloud access to add as much materials as you would like into the platform alongside all of our subscription materials. So really helping you create this central repository of information. So having all this knowledge in one place really makes it easier for employees to find what they need and stay productive, which brings us to that last challenge of increasing productivity. So beyond training courses, Pinnacle Series comes loaded with helpful documents, quick videos, workflows, other materials that can help users get the answers they need if they have questions or get stuck. It doesn't make sense for us to only have courses. If a user has a question, they're working on a project, we don't want them to have to sit through an hour-long course to find what they need. Instead they can check out our library of short videos. All right, so kind of keep these challenges in mind as I'm going through the demonstration today. But I'll go ahead and pull this up and be sure to use the chat feature to ask any questions that you might have, because my colleague Rose will be manning the questions as they kind of come in. And then if there's anything that she needs to jump in and say, I'll be sure to cover those questions as well as needed. All right. So let's start, I guess, kind of at the top at the beginning. So as it's already been mentioned, Pinnacle Series is a browser-based solution, so making it very easy for users to access the platform regardless of where they are working. As far as the overall look and feel of the platform, we do allow each of our clients to customize their tenant of Pinnacle Series. So any of the images, the colors, the fonts that you see can be personalized by your organization. So that way when your users log in, they'll recognize it as a trusted resource of information. Before I get too far, I am going to jump into the user profile section here because I do want to point out a important component of the platform. Pinnacle Series is available in just over 90 different languages. So the individual user can select their language that's needed for Pinnacle Series. So from their user profile, I could select my language, go ahead and apply that language, and they will update any of the written word on the platform, as well as we have video transcripts that go along with all of our videos as well. All right, so let's head back to the home page and talk a little bit about how this is laid out. Excuse me. So when a user logs in, what the user sees on their homepage will be personalized to that user. So depending on what assignments that user currently has will drive what they see here in this assignment section. So if I need to jump back into an assessment, maybe, pick up in my course, I can easily pick up where I left off. Kind of moving on down here. We have a featured library section. So as a way for the organizations to pin or feature important libraries, so content libraries. So maybe these are technologies that your clients are using. It's just kind of a way to pin them to the top above the general library carousel that we have below here. And we'll dive into this library area here in just a moment to kind of show you all the content that we have available. Now, as a user, there's a few different ways to navigate the platform to find what you need. We have some search options up top. We also have some left-handed menu items to kind of bring the user to the important parts of the platform. One of those areas being the library section. Now, the library section is where all the content on the platform is organized. So with your Pinnacle Series subscription, you get access to many of our out-of-the-box libraries, all right, as just day one as part of the subscription. So I'm going to go through this here, but some things I want you to keep in mind as we're talking about our content is its variety, its depth, and its flexibility. So let's talk about variety first. So as we're kind of going through here, you'll see many popular technologies that you use on a daily basis. Rose kind of mentioned we got our start with our Autodesk partnership. So you will see a lot of the Autodesk products. That is the largest of our libraries with everything from AutoCAD, BIM products, Civil 3D, Revit, ACC products. But we do have content outside of Autodesk as well. So you'll see things such as Bentley, Bluebeam, Esri, Global BIM standards, BIMTrack, Ignite, Guardian, Enscape, much more. I'm kind of scrolling through here so you can kind of see what we have. You can also see that it's broken down into different version years when we talk about the Autodesk libraries. So as updates are made to the technology, the content within Pinnacle Series will also be updated. Now, we have a lot of content out of the box, and a very popular question I get, and I'll make sure I answer it here for you. We don't use all these technologies. do we have to view all of them? Do we have to keep them here? And the answer is no. You can hide from visibility anything that does not apply to your users so that the list they're scrolling through is not quite as lengthy, right? But obviously, we're doing a demonstration here. We want to show you all the content that we have available. So I wanted to be sure that we had everything turned on. All right, so users can simply scroll to the technologies that they are using. Otherwise, there's a search up top they can search for. But I'm going to go ahead and just jump into Revit here as an example so I can show you how these libraries are laid out. And now we can talk about a little bit more about the depth of our content. All right, so when I get to the Revit 2025 library, I will have some filter options as far as, looking through the materials. One being the difficulty level. So we have learning available at different levels. So when we talk about beginner versus kind of building your self up to those more advanced levels here. So learning paths are really the on-demand courses that are going to guide the user through that structured curriculum to learn a new skill, to fill a knowledge gap. But we also have other types of materials, kind of like I was mentioning, the productivity tool. Maybe you don't have time to sit through an entire course. You just want to check out, a library of our short videos. We have some documents and some workflows here, which are a visual guide of a process or a best practice. And we'll take some time to look at each of these asset types here. But it's important to know, in a library, you have some filter options, whether you want to narrow down by keywords, content type, but you can also just do a search up top and the platform will narrow down based on your search there within the Revit 2025 library here as well, so users can easily find what they need. All right. Let's head back to the home page and talk more about the learning opportunities in Pinnacle Series, because we have quite a few ways that users can get into the learning, but learning can be self-enrolled. So as they browse libraries, if they want to self-enroll into a course, they are free to do so. Otherwise, a manager and admin can also assign users into learning. And when that assignment takes place, you can set due dates, which will trigger notifications. But anytime that enrollment takes place, the user will see the assignment here on their assignment tab of their homepage. So it kind of stays on their list until they complete all the materials. Let me jump into a learning path now to show you how our learning is structured. So on the left-hand side, we have the outline or the curriculum of this course. So the platform's going to guide the user through the list of materials. So as one video ends, it'll jump to the next item in the list. Courses can be made up of videos, documents. Looks like this one has a few exercises for the users to complete. So meaning we provide a practice file, practice project file, so they can kind of practice what they are learning in the video and kind of make sure, they can do it on their own. And then most will include a quiz at the end as well. All right. Now, another opportunity, we talk about the flexibility of our content, is that we do allow our clients to customize any of our out-of-the-box learning paths. So let's say this Civil 3D Fundamentals is 90% of how you'd want your users to work through these materials. We actually give you the ability to alter this curriculum. So let's say, like I said, this is 90% how you want your users to review the materials. You can copy down this curriculum, and at that point, you can remove anything that's not necessary. So maybe it's a feature that you don't utilize, so you don't need to spend time learning about it. But you could also include any of the custom materials that you've added to the platform. All right, so if you have a video going over, the templates that need to be used, how to set up a project, very specific instructions that's unique to your organization, those items can be included alongside of the out-of-the-box materials to really customize the learning for your users. Or if you have a series of 5-6 videos, want to create a custom quiz, you can have your own standalone learning path here as well. All right. So that's a little bit about how learning can be used out of the box, how it can be customized. But another way that we can provide learning is through a process that we call personalized learning. And to do this, we have an assessment tool built into the platform called Knowledge Smart. With the results of the assessment, we can provide targeted learning to each individual user. So what this process kind of looks like is that first they would be assigned an assessment. So on my assignment page here, I have a Revit assessment that I've been assigned. If I select that assessment tile, it's going to take me to the welcome page where I can get some information before I get started, so I can get, see what's included. Typically, there will be some download files, so meaning questions of the assessment can be both knowledge-based, but also test-based. So asking the user to review an image, maybe open a project file, follow some steps before they can answer the question there. Once I have everything that I need, I can go ahead and begin my assessment. Questions will be, like I said, true, false, multiple choice, fill in the blank. Users simply work through the question navigator here, one question at a time. If there is a project file they need, it will refer to what file they need to open and the steps they need to follow. But once I've answered all of my questions, I can go ahead and submit my assessment. And then back on my homepage, I will receive that personalized learning. So meaning I will only be enrolled in topics that are needed. I will test out or skip over the items that I've shown that I've understood through the course of the assessment. So as an example of this, I have this advanced architectural learning path. There is a little trophy icon in the lower right-hand corner. That is our assessment icon. So as the user logged in, I recognize this as a learning path that has been customized for me based on that assessment that I've just completed. All right, so if I go into this learning path, it will look very similar to the learning path that I was just, the out-of-the-box one that I was just showing you. But some of the differences, up top, you can see that I was only enrolled in 6 out of the 15 courses. So many of our learning paths can be quite long, but by assessing users up front, they can actually skip over any of the items that they've proven that they've understood through the course of the assessment. All right, so I'm going to save myself some time by skipping over those topics. There's also a show all content toggle where I can see the individual items that I'm skipping over. You can see how they're kind of lightly grayed out and that trophy icon is appearing. Right, so this is Knowledge Smart is a great resource for you to efficiently provide training to your users based on their individual needs, but also a great way to identify what are the skills gaps across our team or across our organization. With all this assessment data, we can get an idea of where there might be opportunity for larger training initiatives. Also, a really common use of Knowledge Smart is that you can send assessments to people that you are interviewing for positions. They don't get access to your Pinnacle series. They get sent an external URL link, excuse me. But if you decide to move forward with them, they can be converted to an employee in the system. It will retain their results. And now you have a way to provide that personalized learning during their onboarding process with your organization. All right. To kind of wrap up that Knowledge Smart assessment discussion, I do want to highlight the reporting data that can come from the assessment tool because that is a very powerful piece of that assessment tool, really giving you an idea of how your users, their level of knowledge on the technology that they are using. So we do have a Power BI template that can be used to kind of export all that data into to help you analyze the assessment scores. So as assessment scores begin to come in, it can help you identify, who are those top users that maybe can just skip over training. Maybe they're doing well enough, we don't even need to spend time training, versus the users that maybe could benefit from some additional resources or training topics on the platform here. There's a few different dashboards that you can use. So keeping track of both the time spent on the assessment, but also the overall score. Just another way to kind of identify those different levels of users there. The reports and the assessment tool is also going to keep track of training tags. So every assessment question has tags associated with it. And so it's going to let you know what tags or what questions were missed most often. So now you have an understanding of what skills gaps are more prevalent amongst your users and where you might want to focus some of those training opportunities on. All right, like I said, so a lot of different training or reporting opportunities with the assessment tool here as well. All right. So quite a few different ways to provide learning to users in Pinnacle Series, but now I want to switch gears just a little bit and talk about productivity side of things. So users are through their onboarding, through training, focusing in on project work. They can use Pinnacle Series to find those quick answers to get the assistance need if they get stuck. So now I want to talk about more of navigating the platform on the productivity side and the features that we have built in. So we mentioned already browsing by technologies and searching within those libraries, but you can also just do a search up top When Pinnacle Series does the search, it's going to look through any of the content that we provided, but also anything that your organization adds as well. You'll have some filter options to narrow down by technology, version year, whatever you need to kind of quickly find the materials that you are looking for here. But let's go ahead and jump into a video, because I just want to mention a few things about our videos. We have some video navigation tools here. You have some options as far as minimizing or collapsing some menus to make the video larger. You can also take it to full screen, but you have some speed up, slow down options here as well. We also have some other ways to navigate the video itself. So we have some chapters. So if you want to skip ahead by chapters, but we also have a transcript available. And we touched on this briefly here when we were talking about languages, but transcripts can also be used to navigate the video. So if you scroll ahead and find what you need, you can simply click into the transcript and the video will jump to that point in time. Any video that you add to the platform can be auto-transcribed in our content area. The transcription is also, like I mentioned, is what can be translated into the additional languages that the user chooses in the platform. All right. The user has some options as far, some icons, I should say. So if they need to share a link, they can easily do so. They also have some bookmark options. So if I need to save this video for later, maybe I found it helpful, I can save it to my bookmarks. Each user will have their own individual bookmark section here on their left-handed menu. And this is just, like I said, think about it in a browser. You have favorites, you have bookmarks, a way to create a quick link from your menu to items that you might be needing. I have a workflow saved here that I would like to show you, give you a little bit more information on our workflows and how they can be helpful to users. But workflows are a visual guide of a process, a best practice. It's going to walk the user step by step through that process. All right, this is an example of the process of setting up a Revit MEP project. So on the left-hand side, I have the outline of this process. In the middle here, I have kind of this interactive diagram view where I can zoom in, follow along step by step. But when I click into the steps, that's when the details of what I need to be doing or how I can complete the step will appear on the right-hand side. So essentially, the user is reading through the text to get an understanding of how they can complete this step. There are some helpful links within the text, one being reference video. So if I need a quick reminder on how to complete something within the technology, I can pop open that video without losing my spot in the workflow that I'm following along to. Next, we have tool command links that will take the user right to where they need to be. In this case, this is a Revit workflow. I already have Revit open on my machine. If I select the material link, it will take me to Revit, run that command for me so that I can complete this step in the process that I'm following along to. So it's kind of hard to show you and I'm only sharing one monitor, but you can imagine having Pinnacle Series, open with the workflow on one screen, following along with your project on the other screen, really ensuring that users are following the correct process the first time they work on something and hopefully eliminate any need for rework down the road. And in the same way that we spoke about learning and being able to copy down and customize, the same is true for any of our workflows. You can copy them down, make the modifications needed so that it follows, your process for setting up a project or whatever, I guess, essentially any process that you want to outline for your organization. You can swap out links, text, visuals within the workflows here as well. All right, now kind of in reverse, let's say the user's working in their technology. Like I mentioned, I have Revit open. We have a tool called the Related Learning Topics tool that is available in several of the Autodesk technologies, so AutoCAD, Civil 3D, Revit, Plant 3D, Inventor. But this will show content related to the commands that are being utilized. Or as you can see, I'm selecting different things here in Revit. So it will show items related to those commands. So if I'm working on a project, I have a question, I can see there's a 5-minute video on placing walls. This link will take me directly into Pinnacle Series. I don't have to go searching for this video now, but it'll be a direct link to that video that I view and then return to my project. So the very helpful way to keep the materials in front of the users, even while they are in project work, especially if they're a new user, sometimes people don't even know what they need to be searching for. So this just gives them an idea on what's available related to what they're working on in their technology. And this tool will stay wherever you last leave it. You can resize, and like I said, you could also leave it on your second monitor, but I'm sharing one screen right now, so I have to kind of leave it on top of my project for the time being. All right. Another way we have added to the platform to kind of navigate the platform, find resources, is we have added an AI chat to the platform. And this is another way to kind of search through the materials, both out of the box subscription materials, but also anything your organization adds to the platform. What's nice about our Pinnacle AI is it does stay confined to our platform. So it's not leaving and going on the internet to search other sites. It's staying to all the materials that we have created or you've created to answer these questions. So it's going to outline, give the user the answer, but it's also going to link to the materials that it used to answer the question. And once again, it can use any custom materials that you've added to the platform as well. So if I maybe want to actually watch that full-length video, now that I've received that answer, I can easily pop that open and get the rest of the information here as well. All right, so another very quick, efficient way for users to get their questions answered. All right. One thing I kind of skipped over in the beginning, but I want to make sure I highlight it. We talked about knowledge capturing and sharing during the PowerPoint presentation and getting custom materials in here. I do just want to highlight that you can create any custom libraries that your organization needs here as well. So we're obviously an attendant for Accienta, so we can see their custom libraries, but you can add your own images to upload any documents, whether those are Word, PowerPoint, PDF, Excel files, upload any videos to help create a central repository of your own internal materials alongside our materials here as well. So I just want to make sure that was known. You can have as much content as you would like. It's unlimited cloud access to really, bring all the resources for your organization into one place. All right. I'm going to go ahead and hop into PowerPoint. I guess before I do so, Rose, was there anything that came in that I need to address at this time?
No, it doesn't look like it, but it is a good reminder for everybody attending today that if you have any questions, feel free to just chat them in the Q&A or the chat area, and we can address them live or in the chat.
Thank you, Rose. All right. So let's summarize a little bit of what I covered during the demonstration. And we're going to kind of jump more into the subscription discussion here at this time. So Pinnacle Series comes loaded with a variety of materials to help your team learn about the technologies they are using every day. Learning can be done in a variety of ways, whether it's a short video, a structured learning path, or following along to a process workflow. Users can find the knowledge they need in Pinnacle Series. Let's talk a little bit more about my team and the role I play here at Eagle Point Software. From my introduction, you learned that I was a customer success manager. I am one of many customer success managers here at Pinnacle Series. We work with our enterprise clients to really help drive user adoption of Pinnacle Series throughout their organization. So to do so, we do have a kind of a process that we follow, starting really with implementation, and then we're with you every step of the way throughout your lifetime of your subscription. So really getting an understanding of what your organization's learning needs are, how we can best align the platform for what you need. And then, post-launch, once we kick off, we're going to continue to meet to review usage, maybe where there might be opportunity to align the platform with an initiative that you're having or a project that, what training needs to be done. So we're really with you every step of the way. So I just wanted to highlight that that is part of those enterprise subscriptions there as well. All right. And kind of some of the things that we've talked about a little bit more. I've mentioned a few things, but you have some options. We'll talk about asset libraries here in just a moment. The platform being available in just over 90 different languages. I did not mention, when we talk about reporting, we do have an open API. So if you have another maybe HR system, some other platform that might need some of this learning data, that would be an opportunity to integrate here as well. But obviously you would have access to all the reporting data as far as keeping track of learning, what's being assigned out, how are users progressing through the materials here as well. And then as far as getting users into the platforms, we do have some options as far as, importing a spreadsheet, but we can also sync with an Active Directory if that's something that's maintained by your organization. And that will kind of automate users being added or removed from the platform as they come and go from your organization. All right, at this point, I am going to, it looks like we have a poll, so I will stay quiet here for a moment.
Move forward, we'd love to hear from you. We have a quick poll just to better understand where your organization currently stands when it comes to digital training, workflows adoption, or for example, learning platforms. So what really makes a difference is your input, as it helps us steer the conversation towards your priorities. So please take a moment to share your response. Okay, now moving forward.
Excellent. All right. Dolly, do you want to jump to the next slide? And I'll just quickly highlight everything that is included with a subscription. So as Dolly mentioned and showed you today, there is a lot of content in Pinnacle Series. And I think that's one of our strengths. But for some people, it might be a little bit overwhelming, especially when your organization just uses maybe a handful of these logos on the screen. So just rest assured, as Dolly explained, we can turn off anything that's irrelevant for your organization. But as we are growing our customer base, we really want to make sure that we cater to everybody and all of their training needs. So it is a lot of content. I think it's a really good thing. And then there are a couple of add-ons that you can opt into. Those are available for a fee. So Adobe, Microsoft, Bentley, health and safety, those types of subscriptions. So pretty straightforward. If you have any questions, if you want to see more, we can definitely send you our content catalog. So keep that in mind. All right. And then as far as, who is using this, some of our clients, they're sharing a lot of good feedback on our website. We have a lot of case studies. We have a lot of references. So we can send more of that to you, but they're all on our website too. So the one that I specifically want to highlight today is the Davis Partnership Architects case study that we did with them. So the reason why I did that is because instead of looking at just training, which is obviously a logical place to start with this type of conversation, they wanted to just take a look at productivity within their firm. So as the poll actually showed, some of you are currently using YouTube videos or other resources to get a question answered. And so they were experiencing the same thing within their firm. So they didn't really have a standard recommended way to solving their questions, getting answers. So what was happening in the firm is some people that were working in the office were tapping a friend on the shoulder or a colleague or going to their manager with a question that maybe it doesn't have to be a simple, question or answer, but something that could have been documented or is already in Pinnacle Series. So when they implemented Pinnacle Series, they just looked at how much time they can save on average. Going to something like YouTube or Google or any other, tapping a friend on the shoulder, it's going to take some time to get to the right answer, and it might not be the right answer. So with Pinnacle Series, you can really make sure that your users are in a trusted environment with answers that are qualified. So going to Pinnacle Series instead, they estimated that saved them on average 3 minutes per day They took a look at how much they're paying their employees per hour, their architects, and they were, able to quickly understand that by adopting Pinnacle Series, they could save over 350,000 US dollars a year, which is a lot more than what they invested into the solution. So, and this just takes a look at the productivity side of things. It doesn't even take a look at the training. So it's a good thing to keep in mind that this can really boost productivity within the firm. So if you want to read more about our case studies, they're on our website, and we can send it to you if you'd like. All right, with that, I'm turning it over to Hala to talk more about your subscription and everything else included. But we're here in the webinar, so if you have any questions, feel free to chat them in.
Yes, thank you, Rose. You've already seen how Pinnacle Series delivers value in action. And now let's take a moment to summarize what's included in your subscription. So the way it works, you get unlimited enterprise-wide access. So whether your team has 50 people or 5,000, the platform grows with you. And also it includes content in over 90 languages, ensuring your team, wherever they are based, can learn and engage in the language that works best for them. There is also full integration with Active Directory and SSO for seamless, secure user access. And for more advanced need, there is also API access, so you can tailor the platform to your internal systems and workflows. It's fully hosted on Microsoft Azure, and therefore it's globally secured, which means your data is protected by one of the most trusted cloud infrastructure in the world. And of course, it's delivered with GCC-specific onboarding, rollout planning, and change management supported directly by Accienta. Now you may be wondering what makes this particular solution and our joint approach stand out. So let's explore that next. What makes Accienta and Pinnacle Series different? So basically, first is that we support real-world teams with content and onboarding in both Arabic and English. So because workforce's engagement has to be accessible and localized, we give this bilingual support. Second is that the training is not one size fits all. So basically, it's custom fit to the tools you actually use. For example, Revit, AutoCAD, Civil 3D, Naviswork, and more, ensuring relevance from day one. And on another point, we also go beyond just providing online content. So live onboarding is a big part of what we do. And that means we're always there with guided implementation, real-time support, and proactive success planning. So the platform includes tailored playbooks, standards, and workflows organized by role and project type. So every user knows exactly how to apply what they're learning. And perhaps most importantly is that we bridge the gap that is usually there, the gap between the user knowledge and the project excellence, helping your team not just use tools, but rather master them in context. So building on that, what sets this partnership apart? Let's explore why so many leading AEC firms across the GCC chose Accienta as their trusted digital enablement partner. So basically, there are many reasons why leading AEC firms across the GCC turn to Accienta to support their digital enablement. First is that we truly understand the complexity of multilingual, multicultural project teams. So that's why we provide full bilingual support, so teams across roles and departments can engage and adopt confidently. Next is our real priority is long-term capability development and not just initial deployment. So in simple words, we believe it's essential to provide continuous training and well-organized support so that teams don't get stuck or lose momentum, which actually happens in a lot of cases. So basically, this approach actually helps us manage challenges like staff turnover, ensuring your team keeps progressing smoothly and confidently over time. And finally, it's about driving real operational value. And by saying that, we actually mean putting the right structure in place by boosting compliance, encouraging collaboration, and keep driving the improvement across your digital workflows. So that's a quick look at why GCC clients trust Accienta to support their digital journey. Now we'd love to hear from you. So we'd like to open the floor for your question, whether it's about Pinnacle Series platform, or for example, implementation strategies or subscription details, or how this partnership fits into your organization digital goals. We're here to help. So basically, feel free to drop your questions in the chat now, and we'll answer them at the end of the webinar. Myself, Hala, Rose, and Dolly will be here to respond to all your questions. And I can say, as we wrap up today's session, we want to emphasize that this partnership is not just about delivering a tool, but rather it's about driving real transformation across your organization. So whether you're expanding your team, launching a strategic digital initiative, or say looking to get like more out of your technology investments, this collaboration between Accienta and Eagle Point Software is designed to give you the roadmap, resources, and support you need to deliver like real measurable outcomes. So at Accienta, we recognize that every digital journey is different. And accordingly, that's exactly why we take a tailored region-specific approach, making sure the best solutions fit the workflow, languages, and operational needs of teams all across the GCC. So it's time to move from simple adoption to true excellence with confidence, clarity, and consistency. And with that being said, let's take a look at how we can help you accelerate value and make a lasting impact. So thank you all for spending your time with us today. We're excited about the potential this partnership unlocks for forward-thinking AEC teams, and we'd love to help you take the next step. So you can get in touch through any of the channels on the screen, whether by phone, email, or through our website. And of course, feel free to reach out to me directly at hala.adwan@accienta.com. And on behalf of everyone at Accienta and Eagle Point Software, thank you, and we look forward to partnering with you on your digital journey.